Please, sit down.
Greetings. Greetings from Dharamshala, India. Welcome to the 7th annual Generation Change Exchange with His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. This exchange is a partnership between the Office of His Holiness and the United States Institute of Peace. During our 2-day dialogue, His Holiness will engage with 26 young, amazing peace builders from 12 conflict-affected countries across Africa, Asia, the Middle East, and Latin America. I am David Yong, Vice President at the United States Institute of Peace for the Gandhi King Global Academy, which is, of course, named after Mahatma Gandhi and Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Our academy serves as a support for training for peace builders. I will be honored to serve as the moderator for the dialogues for the next 2 mornings. Your Holiness, thank you very much for your support, your continuing support of our exchange. For the last 2 years, we enjoyed virtual dialogues with you online. But of course, we're even happier and honored to be back with you in Dharamshala. This past week, we have experienced the cool monsoon showers, a double rainbow in the sky, and the beautiful clear views of the Himalayas. So thank you for hosting us. Our young leaders this past week have taken a course in leadership skills here in Dharamshala. That course has included an introduction to the art of storytelling, an art that we believe is key to leadership and key to peace building. Your Holiness, we consider you one of this era's great spiritual leaders and one of its most eloquent peace builders. We have been moved by your stories of hope, compassion, resilience, and peace. That is why our dialogue, your dialogue, with our young peace-building leaders, in it we want to share with you stories about how children of war can become leaders for peace, how children of war can become leaders for peace. Your Holiness, we have divided our stories into 4 themes, 4 spiritual dimensions of peace building, largely inspired by your teachings. So after you hear each set of stories, I will invite you to share your own reflections and your own wonderful stories. And then, time permitting, our leaders have some questions for you about their spiritual leadership on peace building. So our 4 themes, Your Holiness, will be, number 1, belonging to a community. Number 2, compassion that you've so deeply taught us. Number 3, inner peace to be able to do our peace-building work, and for our passion for equality and justice that we share with you. So we will now start our first theme and then invite your reflections. Our first theme is on belonging, and we have 6 short sharings to present to you, and our first will be Qual.
Thank you very much, David. Your Holiness, my name is Kwal Arrow Kwal, a former child soldier and a refugee from South Sudan. South Sudan. The journey of my life began in the year 2004 when the war in my country was at the peak. There were no men left in the village. I remember I never saw my father. They were all the terrified faces of women and children. And while the civil war was happening, there were internal insurgencies, and my village was left vulnerable to attacks. So the chief in my village decided to communicate that every family that had 2 male children contribute 1 to be trained as a child soldier. In my family, I was contributed. And the memories of that are terrifying. I remember that moonlit night, sitting under an acacia tree beside my dying friend, watching helplessly. Those were terrifying experiences. Your Holiness, as a human, there is nothing I can do to undo what I've been through. But I have been reflecting lately, now that I'm a father, what is this kind of world that I live for my children? And this has been the toughest reflection I've had. And now I'm working with the former child soldiers on the first step of healing by giving them the space to share their stories and so that they can contribute to a better world. I now work with the former child soldiers and the refugees in northern Uganda. That's my story, Your Holiness.
Thank you, Qual. Ruby.
Good morning, Your Holiness and everyone. I'm Ruby. I'm from Syria. And today I want to tell a story of power. The power that my family gave me. But it's not the power of money or status, it's the power of words. I grew up in a family that believed in equality between man and woman. Feminism was the core of my upbringing. But the thing is, my family did not even know what feminism is. What they knew is that men and women are equally capable, strong, and intelligent. Equality between man and woman is not the norm in my society. My family could not change the whole society, but what they could do is give me the power of their words. They reminded me each time, me and my twin brother, that we are equal in every single aspect. And they used their words to remind me that I can take any challenge and path I choose. Before every exam, before my swimming and chess competition, before I traveled abroad on my own, they used to tell me, you are strong, you are powerful. For 27 years, even now, every time I doubt myself, they tell me, you are strong, you are powerful. And this is the word that I exactly need to hear, because powerful and strong are not words that are usually used to address women and girls. But these are the words I needed to find my path of happiness and success. And now, these are the words that give me power to fight for other women and girls. They also keep me going to challenge system of inequality and injustice. So one day, every single girl in my community grow up hearing, you are powerful, you are strong. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you, Ruby. Adriana, please.
Thank you, David. Good morning, Your Holiness. I am Adriana. I'm from Colombia. And my story is in 2019, when I am about to start a project with young people.
有空多，
Okay. Young people,
那可是不选选给切都来个钱，
young people deprived of the liberty in prison. I feel afraid because I have been listening only bad news and comments about these young people. But as days go by, my feelings changes. Because many times I thought that vulnerability was bad. In my heart, I thought that to be vulnerability was being big and coward.
可是，可是简单没不当，顶着三路会也就是和的人都没别个顶着错个都是些，vulnerability 些的些，就他可对于呢旁边说呀个的影响吧，现在说了，对。
And I thought that to be vulnerability was to be a victim. However, with the time and experience I have had in my life, in especial with these young people, I realized that begin to be vulnerable, is to be human, to be strong, and to be brave. I just understood that these young people just want only to be someone and to do something about their lives. And these young people want only opportunities to grow up like me. And for this reason, I decided to be part of the solution and to be part of the young people who work for a better Colombia.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Adriana. And then we have Okash.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Mohammed Okash. I'm from Somalia. 20 years ago, one night I was walking on a dark street to my home. It was the only street I could reach to home.
可是说，罗女婿看了，可能说社会给那了，但是的，说上那么有了，上那的老买不起，那工那，老买吧，然后这的。
Yeah. So I was walking on the street. I found two men with guns in front of me. It is the only way I could reach home. So as I was getting closer to them, I realized one of them was my former classmate who dropped out from school. It was a shocking moment for me. I couldn't know what to do. I took the risk and I passed the way. When I get closer to him, I say hi. And he said hi. He identified me. I was left safely and I reached home safely. And I started thinking, why you fellow young men are having guns around you? What is the future will look like? Will you live in such an environment? I keep thinking and thinking and thinking. I made a decision. I was at a crossroad of my career. I didn't know what to do after high school. So I decided to be an educator. I started my career as a teacher from primary school, secondary school, till at college. As time moves very fast, I teach the young people with employable skills and entrepreneurial skills so they can get jobs and start businesses. One day, I was on the street. One of my students stopped me, and he has a story to tell me. He said, I have a good news for you. And I asked, what is? He was very happy. He said, I started a business, and he sells a product around the market. His product is almost every shop. And he hired 20 young people. And that is the moment I felt I was contributing something valuable to my community. And that kept me moving to do everything, what I do every day. And that is my way of building a peaceful and prosperous Somalia.
Thank you, Okash. Moji.
Your Holiness, my name is Mojisola. I'm from Nigeria. Your Holiness, growing up for me was different because I grew up knowing only my mother. This is because my father and my mother had divorced while I was a child. As a child, I saw my mom sell her property. Sometimes she even has to borrow money from family and friends just for her to be able to take care of me and my siblings. And this was really so heartbreaking. As I grew up more, I realized that the challenges that my mother faced is not just limited to her. There are hundreds of women out there that are affected by cultural barriers. I also realized that the stigmatization and the marginalization that women face in society affects the quality of their contribution to society, and it also affects their mental health. For my mom, she was really lonely because people thought that she's a bad example. Because in my culture, a woman is not expected to leave her husband's house. To make things worse, my mom was living in a society that is affected by terrorism, kidnapping, and social violence. I start to ask myself, what can I do to make change? This provoked me in 2018 to start a community initiative that supports women, particularly women from disadvantaged homes like me. And I began to ask myself, how can I help women to find their voice, to be able to use their voice to make change and break stereotype? Your Holiness, today I'm happy to tell you that I have created a safe space for young women, which I call the Peace Club. And through this Peace Club, I'm able to bring young women together, to be able to empower each other, to support each other, to share and learn with each other. My Peace Club is now in 3 communities, and I have over 50 young women there. This is how I'm making impact in my community. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you very much, Moji, for your powerful story and your powerful work. Your Holiness, we have one more story about belonging. We'll invite your thoughts. This is Leonardo.
Your Holiness, good morning. It was a sunny morning, 9 a.m. A room full of kids around me, 20 of them, and then the bell to go to the break ring. And everyone left that room, including the teacher. But I was the only one who stayed in that room. And I was looking at a blank wall in front of me. And I was wondering in my mind, why did they all left? Why am I the only one who is here? At that point, I realized what it's like to be left behind, what it's like to not be part of a group, what it's like to feel that you don't belong. But I also realized it is not just me. This is a reality that many people in my country face. They feel that the government is not taking care of them. They feel that they're not part of that larger society. 20 years later, I'm looking at a blank page. And this time, it's a blank page full of hope. And here in this blank page, we wrote letters to the ex-combatants in our country who were coming back to society after war, to welcome them, to give them a new opportunity to be part of our community. We exchanged more than 7,000 letters. And with this process, we believe that if we give each one a second chance, if we can create a society and a community where each one feels that they can belong, we can bring reconciliation to our nation. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonardo.
Colombia.
Colombia. Yes. Thank you to our young leaders for their stories. Your Holiness, so you've heard these 6 stories of how war can damaged the families from our 6 leaders, how it has created in them both sadness, Kwal leaving his family, and Okash being threatened by an armed classmate, and Moji's very sad story of discrimination against her mother. But yet in all the stories, there's stories of resilience as well. And so I know, Your Holiness, you're a model of resilience. I've loved your stories about your mother, and despite your becoming Dalai Lama at the age of 4, despite your exile, the love of your mother continues in your heart and provides you great strength. If you could reflect on what you've heard and your own search for belonging in your leadership.
그래서 그 저도 그 가 이 세월 여기서 고마서 Now we, humanity, in this planet, because you see, human population much increase. At the society, economy, education, these are little, I may say, corrupted, not very equal. So now, whether we accept these difficult, unfair situation, accept or not, it is reality. Now we have to work this unhealthy world. We must make effort to create healthy world and a happy humanity. Say, distinction, different race, different nation, different color, different religion, these are secondary. We really think, have to, or say, make effort, entire humanity on this planet, we all have equal right. I always say, we all come from our mother. When we were young, taking mother's milk, we are equal. I don't think different nation with different color, I don't think as soon as born, a mother take care and sucking mother's milk. At mother's side, immense affection. And ourselves also totally relying on mother. That's we all human being. You see, when our life start, same way. Now I always feel, now we must make effort to promote human warm-hearted sort of feeling. The Hindi karuna, compassion. Young age, as a human being, as a sort of community or group. So at the young age, no discrimination, rich or poor, or what color, what religion, what nationality. We all feel same, play together. Then we join education. In education, frankly speaking, a 1,000-year-old sort of education analyze things and or how to work the actual circumstances. But then we Asia and also many African, the Western imperialist brought modern education. Modern education, I love modern education. However, modern education very much oriented about material value. Not much talk about our inner value. So now, I feel, even in my own lifetime, First World War, Second World War, and a lot of killing, all these, you see, through education. Too much distinction, we and they. Not much sort of thinking. We are the same human being. We have to live together. Now, time come. In our education, we should insist entire 7 billion human beings. We are same human brothers, sisters. We have to live together on this planet. There is no proper ground to say, or European, or Asian, African. You see, no sound sort of basis. We all, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth. If someone 3 eyes, then I surprise. Otherwise, we all same, exactly same. I think if you go detail about our brain, same. So now, population increasing, and the climate condition also sometimes, you see, create a problem. So now, 7 billion human beings, we have to live together with strong sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. We are same human being. So on the division, on the basis of color, basis of different nationality, and also even using differences of religion, these are I think no proper reason. Religion, personal business, personal matter. When we're born, no particular religion. Then through modern education, then in a distinction, your race, your nation, your religion create more complication. Now time come, we have to insist all 7 billion human beings, we are same. We born same way with mother. We die same way, their last breathing. So, and then most important, we human being, when we born, mothers take care, affection or compassion. At the time of dying, also you surrounded with people who really show you genuine sort of warm feeling, the dying person much happier. They, or say, too much sort of, or say, a ceremony thing, it's not much effect. Important is surrounding people who really show you genuine love. I told the former Indian Prime Minister
Manmohan Singh.
Manmohan Singh. I told him, when, of course, I will live another 15, 20 years, there's no question. But at the time when I dying, I prefer in India. You see, surrounded with people who really show you love. Not artificial something. If I dying, surrounded with these Chinese officials, too much artificial. So I much prefer dying this country free, democracy, open. So when we born, no ceremony. At the time of death, no need ceremony. Surrounded by trusted friend who really show you genuine feeling. And then during lifetime, freedom very important. Our brain quite sophisticated, thinking, and particularly we human brain have the ability to investigate and always raise the question, why? That's very useful. And in order to fully develop question why, you need freedom. Just one political system, not allow many different views, just one view, is actually spoiling human brain. Our brain, very sophisticated, think many things and a lot of questions. So totalitarian system, very bad. Each individual should have complete freedom, thinking, and raise lot of question, why? I think in India, over 1,000 years, you see, the question of why, that really helped development of Indian different spirituality and a different culture. So in order to fully utilize human brain, we need complete freedom. So now, I spent a few years in Tibet. The Chinese communists just only sort of allowed to think about their own communism system, not allowed other things. It is wrong. Now look China itself. Number of Chinese who really showing interest about Buddhism, about my talk. So the people, as a human being, they also need genuine freedom to think, to listen. Just, I think if you use also accept creator, the creator creates 2 ears. So listen this side, listen this side. So different sort of views, different concept, very helpful to learn. Then each individual's own brain judging. May I say so? Even religion, your family, your community belongs certain religion. But after you born and gradually you have right to investigate. And whether you remain a non-believer, up to you. Your family, very religious-minded, but yourself and thinking, then more, how to say, atheist. Okay. But so long, we, as a member of human society, nobody can escape from human compassion. Religion is something different. But basically, we all should have warm feeling. Because in order to survive, your human communities help, or your life very much depends on the community. So, close feeling, truly sense of human brothers, sisters. So now, warm-heartedness here, it automatically brings inner peace. More affectionate minded people there, then no basis to grow fear. So fear, very bad for mental state. Fear. Then also fear very often develop anger. Anger, very bad for our health. even our sleep. Too much anger, you can't sleep. Without anger, more warm-hearted feeling, the sound sleep. I always sleep 8 hours, 9 hours sleep. So, the anger is real enemy. Destroy your peace of mind and bring fear, uncomfortable. So, without anger, more compassionate, more warm heart, then you get inner peace. With inner peace, even food more taste. Full of anger, even food not much good taste. So, we human beings, we have this sophisticated mind. So our life whether become a happy life or not, much depend on these emotion. This is not a question of religious thing. Simply, in order to carry peaceful life, happy life, day and night. And whenever you meet people, always smile. As a human brother, sisters. You see, no use to show that. So I myself, I practice compassion. And on the basis of entire human being on this planet, actually our brothers, sisters. So different color, different nationality, different sort of faith, these are secondary. Basically, as I mentioned earlier, we are same human face, human being. Mm-hmm. So with that feeling, wherever I go, I always feel very happy. I always smile. As I already mentioned, if someone, you see, teeth, something like tiger, something, and different eye, then I feel it a little difficult. But basically, we are same human being. Then more important, we have to live together on this planet. Now, on the differences of nationality, religion, color, these are secondary. The past concept, now no longer relevant. World population increasing and climate also now unpredictable. So now, remaining we human beings, we have to live happily, side by side. Sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. I'm like this, dress, Buddhist monk. But basically, I'm a human being, same. So oneness of human being, I feel that is important. Wherever I go, I always talk, we are same. We entire human being, we are human brothers, sisters. Okay.
Your Holiness.
Now some questions?
Yes.
Some argument.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm going to call on Ruby first. Please, Ruby. Yes.
Thank you, Your Holiness, for your inspiring words. I have a question. You mentioned many challenges, such as the increase in population and climate change. So, to you, what is a good leader that can lead us in what is coming in the future?
Basically, principle, democracy, best, and a leader through election. I think people also should have better education, then can judge. But when election take place, use pocket money. This also not very good. And then, of course, you see, by force, no useful. So genuinely, complete freedom, then choose. Very good.
Thank you. Qual, please.
Thank you very much, Your Holiness. It's a very deep learning for me. My question has always been in regards to what I do. Sometimes I'm very angry, and you mentioned anger, about the slow pace that things are moving. I feel like I do a lot, but there is no impact. I don't see a lot of impact. So how do I prevent myself from this deep anger, and how do I prevent myself from getting burned out, like overworking myself in this situation?
When some some situation, some people create which causing you anger, but then investigate whether these people voluntarily doing this or some other reason, some other pressure. And then also, you see, unhealthy activities, mainly due to short-sighted, not thinking long-run consequences. So, emotional level, anger is very short-sighted. Without anger, then use human intelligence, analyze, and look more holistic way. Then you see the reality. Anger, not seeing holistic, only the particular spot. So that is, I may say, uncivilized people. Then, you see, anger, almost normal. But some education, some knowledge about happiness and happy family, happy community. You see, our view should be more wider perspective and long term.
Thank you.
So thinking, very important.
심슈 마차에 잠잠 그런 내가 제배 qabla 근데 제 도움도 아니 심슈 마차에 겨우 이제 깔아지 나나스.
I believe we, humanity, very nature, from birth, affection, compassion there. So we live among humanity. So little obstacle come. That's maybe say some temporary causes. Long run, I believe we human being, we are one of social animal who have more sense. Therefore, little problem happen. due to certain circumstances, but basically no way to lose our faith to humanity, to human brothers, sisters. And some of these also the problem. We tell people through media and can change these things. We should not let out anger and killing. No use. I really feel the time of gun outdated. Now, in my lifetime, as I briefly mentioned, First World War, Second World War, during my lifetime, how many people killed by weapon? And then, when I seeing these soldiers with carrying gun, they carry these work not voluntarily, but order. Whether king or queen or warlord. That is now outdated. We, each individual, we should have full freedom, thinking.
Your Holiness, you spread love and compassion online. And Moji has a question about the opposite of that. In her generation, please, Moji.
Yeah, I would like to ask also that we are born as man and woman, and how can we live together? Because we also see that in this world, women also are marginalized. How can we begin to
marginalized
Can I go on? Yeah. So how can love be between man and woman, such that they are being treated equally and fairly together?
Whether there is creator or not, men need women, women need men. So, so the human nature, frankly speaking, women, certain sort of, the physical condition which produce child and milk. And father, suppose is in different family. So, we should think the nature process. Sometimes we, human being, particularly human leader, too much sort of sophisticated mind, so is a control, basic human nature. Kozucha? Cha listen. T.
Your Holiness, thank you for your reflections. And before we move on to the next theme, our second theme, I want to reflect that the love.
Now, stomach, hunger, no differences, man and female. We all same.
So before we move on to the next theme, I want to ask you a favor because you spoke so lovingly about your mother and about how the love of a mother is so much the cause for our ability to be compassionate human beings and to be able to be a part of our communities, to belong to our communities. You heard Ruby talk about her mother and her father. You heard Moji talk about the strength of her mother. Ruby's parents' mantra rings in my ears. You are strong. You are powerful. So before we move on, I'd love to ask you to share your stories about your mother. I remember your story about your riding on your mother's shoulders, and could you please share some of your memories of your mother?
I come from a small village. So whole situation, more human nature. So a mother takes care her children. At that time, no nursery or like that. Mother take. And my mother carry on mother's shoulder. And sometimes I control my mother's sort of direction. I hold my mother's two ear. So, no mission, just human. I think that way of life really create our life very close, our nature. Then missions, gradually, our life, in a way, become much easier. But in a way, our very human way of thinking, a little bit distance. So, tea.
Thank you, Your Holiness. So I think we're going to move now and bring the second group. So please bring your tea with you. Thank you to our first group of storytellers.
Oh, sorry. Important thing is we should have strong feeling, oneness of 7 billion human beings. We are same. We have to live together. So, due to little differences, fighting among humanity and produce weapon to kill human brothers and sisters is totally wrong. Outdated. Now we must build a real peaceful world. We all human beings, same human being. So we have to live together. And different color. Even you want to marry different color, okay. So now, absolutely, we should have freedom and thinking of more nature mind, not artificial thinking. Okay.
Thank you. So our next theme, our next spiritual dimension of leadership and peace building, we believe is one of your favorite topics, compassion. So we have 6 more leaders to share their stories about compassion in their young lives and in their new leadership. So we're going to start first with my good friend Sebastian.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Sebastian. I'm from Colombia, and this is the from Colombia.
Colombia.
Colombia, yes. This is the best day of my life, by the way. It was April in 2017. I was in this little village in the middle of the jungle that was created for the peace process in Colombia to gather the guerrilla. There was a little cabin, poorly constructed, and inside there, these guys were making tattoos. I get inside because I really want to get one, and I remember there was an ex-combatant were laid in a bed, making these tattoos, and he was laughing and making jokes with his friends about how they used to take villages, like the one that I was in which I grew up. I remember right there that that my family was violently displaced from people like him.
가르스고래. 가르스도. 그 저거 가래.
저 말에
알레.
We escaped to Bogota, and my father actually had to take care of the family. He was young. He was younger than me right now. He started selling drugs. He ended up in prison, and that was like 5 years. After those 5 years, we were walking actually in some streets in Bogota, and he was shot to death. And it was a hard time. Back in the cabin, I reached my pocket because I had a pen, and I was preparing myself to kill this guy. I know it's really bad. And this little girl comes inside the cabin, crawling, reached the bed, and this ex-combatant took her from the ground and hugged her tightly, and that day changed my life, actually.
가르사.
그런 따지 미지 샌드위치에서 장 그래서 신나길을 그 강주디 나라 미지를 농랑진 지청에서 근데 그런 샌드위치에서 딥기데 법무신주지 용원신에 아니 법무디 미디 야방을 껴진다. 그런 디네 셈바기 와테선서.
That day really changed my life, and I have been working with the thing about this, the real important thing here is that this is not about our revenge.
No.
This is not about us as people that have been experienced violence in any way. This is about the next generations, and I think that that's why we are working, and that's why we're all of my brothers and sisters are here. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you, Sebastian.
가르스고래.
자신 그런 따지 누구 단계인데 매버서 삼바디 제부터 버려. 다디 응안 찍고 뭐 이만도 상만 찍버려셔. 스트레스를 내야 돼. 삼로디 돌고야 돼.
And our next leader is Helena.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Helena Fasaha. I'm from Ethiopia. I work in humanitarian organization towards emergency response for the internally displaced people, which is internally displacement is in my country, which is now a common thing in my country. So every time I work in emergency response, I feel two-sidedness. The one side is like I'm helpful for these people. I'm here to help the people which are in need, and in the other side, it's I feel so heartbroken because I saw a woman, a mother with her children without no food to feed her children. And I saw a father with his children without no shelter to live in. And I saw many of the people flee from their original placement to the place where they never even know where they are moving. So in this part, I realize and I sit to understand where is my place for me to change. Then in my childhood, I grew up in a church where I know how to respect people, where I learn how to respect and how to love others and friends, family, and the society. So what I believe is like for us to start change, our religious leaders in our institution, wherever of any kinds of a religion it might be, but it's so helpful for us to make a unity, for us to feel some humanity. So, thank you.
그래서
미 독서 직디 chen 때 직 펜주인 로바치야다 딕시우지 개칭부 임바치 모랑 스톤스.
I really feel wonderful, the spirit of European Union. France, Germany, many, decades enemy, killing each other. But then under the leadership of Adena, de Gaulle, you see, eventually they develop European Union. Through many decades killing each other, consider enemy, but that completely changed. Now whole European Union, no military forces and no record among member states killing each other. It's not just a theory, it actually happened. So now thinking whole some time back, one occasion, some scientists want to examine my brain. I didn't accept. But actually, my mind, my brain, quite peaceful. I train on daily practice altruism. So my brain quite sort of, say, peaceful. sound that directly affect my sleep and also digestion. Much fear, much anger, then even digestion a little bit difficult, isn't it? So peace of mind. I think you cannot buy peace of mind from shops or produced from factories, but yourself. Mother give you this brain, and a mother take maximum care with affection. So you yourself, more compassionate mind, thinking that way, not expensive, but most beneficial.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Now we'll turn to Anna.
Hello, Your Holiness. I am Ana. I am from Venezuela. And what I'm going to tell you is about a really meaningful time that I experienced, that thinking of what is compassion to me. In 2017, I remember I was in my university, and I had my backpack with books and with a tear gas mask. We had been protesting Venezuelan youth for over 90 days, with more than 100 killings of young people by the arms of the government and the military forces. All of us students went downhill to protest, and as it was normal to us in all of those 90 days. But I remember when I saw the tanks of the National Guard, I felt so angry, so angry. And I thought about everything that had happened in those 90 days. I was holding a shield that had painting on it. I fight for my family to come back home. The Venezuelan crisis have taken around 6 million people that are now living in other countries. I went downhill with this shield, and I found myself only with a barrier of wood between me and the armed forces. I was paralyzed. And, sorry. And I found myself completely alone, and I felt a pull from the back of my backpack. And as I was running backwards downhill, being pulled by I don't remember who, I saw so many destruction, anger, violence, that when I was back in safety, I thought to myself, why? What are we actually building? And this got me thinking about my role of leadership as a young Venezuelan woman. Now I work more in building bridges than holding barriers. And I can proudly say, as a young Venezuelan female activist, that I'm working on having young people and women particularly to be in front of their own future, owning their future, or owning their lives by being active in society and being active in building a future through actions that are actually meaningful for us. So that's our fight for peace and resistance in my country.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, overall, I think humanity on this planet, I think thinking and also on the basis of getting experience. Now, we human beings, we emphasize more humanity. We are a human being, not differences, country or culture, these things, but basically we are same. We all want happy, peaceful. So now, I think world, in a way, now no longer thinking importance of military forces, no. In the past, military forces is the basis of their strength. Now that concept gone. Now through election, people more thinking, not running money, but with calm mind and thinking, and through that way, election, okay. So I think within my lifetime, early part of my life, a lot of killing, a lot of war, a lot of military forces, a lot of weapons. Now these are changed. So, I really feel things are getting better. Then, as I mentioned earlier, you see, we have to develop whole humanity. Just one group. So no longer distinction. Their nation, my nation. No, we are all same human being. We all want a happy life. So on this planet, 7 billion human beings, we actually brothers, sisters, and sit, friendly, peacefully. As I mentioned earlier, the European Union is one example. Now, we, different part of the world, also you see we can develop really union. We are same, as I mentioned earlier. So, through education and through communication, and our aim, demilitarized world, oneness of entire 7 billion human beings. I myself from Tibet. The Chinese communist control, but Tibetan spirit, peaceful sort of spirit, and Indian Nalanda tradition, we really kept. So Tibetan spirit, we never say gun, always compassion. So inside Tibet, about 6 million Tibetan, they truly believe the Buddha's teaching, compassion, forgiveness. So towards some of these Chinese who really carry some atrocity among Tibetan, but no ill feeling, instead pray for them. So such cultural heritage is really worthwhile or preserve. Recently I visited a Tibetan border area Ladakh, and this area, the Tibetan, their mind very peaceful. I always, telling them, we actually, the whole Himalayan range, we have the potential and the ability to build real peaceful human community. So I may be too optimistic. But I really feel now things are getting better. And the human being, more knowledge and seeing more things. Now my age, 87, another 10 years, I think things may more better change, including China, also now changing. So the basic human value, human compassion, now getting, kasa?
Becoming more obvious.
More sort of stronger. So some good result of human warm-heartedness. Ultimately, all 7 billion human beings on this planet truly live sense of brotherhood, sisterhood. And then one thing, we have to pay more attention about ecology. Then global warming, that is quite serious. When I was young in Lhasa, those mountains surrounding Lhasa, during winter, lot of snow, but less and less now, year by year, less and less. So now that is beyond our control, global warming. So we have to pay more attention about ecology. That is very important. We have modern technology, seawater can be transformed drinking water. Then many African countries, usually you see desert, now should cultivate green Africa, green Arab. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. And it's appropriate you speak of the work of Charles de Gaulle and Konrad Adenauer in their heroic attempt to create the European Union, which they succeeded. And so it's appropriate because Helena represents a country that is the host of the African Union. And we have 3 colleagues now who represent great countries and participants in the building of the African Union. So, Dennis, please.
Thank you, Your Holiness and the honorable members in the building. My name is Dennis Morris and I am from South Sudan. I want to share with you a brief story that is centered around me. I've been inspired by 2 things, by people around me and by the situation that I lived in. Your Holiness, to be truly, things are getting worse. I've lived to see so many mysterious things around me. I've seen multiple women being raped. I've seen so many children being hanged and killed for no reason. I've seen so many violations of human rights. The worst among us all is that 100,000 of women and children are fleeing their home country, living somewhere in exile and dying without seeing their homeland. Your Holiness, among us all is that young people have developed the culture of the culture of violence to fight the government. And these young people does not realize their gift, their talent that can be used to transform the society. Among us all, Your Holiness, what inspires me is that when I look at the future, the future is black. What inspired me are the non-violence peace actors, such as Dr. Luther Martin King, Nelson Mandela, Mohandas Gandhi, including my mom, who always fought with their notions of non-violence, individualism, and forgiveness. With this, I stand on their footsteps to work for peaceful society, to see a situation, a youth reframing from the culture of violence, and to see a purified mindset, free of hatred, free of greed, well as embracing unconditional love for life, and to see a South Sudan, a lawful country with the love and the peace and the justice. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
Please, Deba.
Thank you, Your Holiness. My name is Pasca Nyabot from South Sudan. I remember back in 2013 when the conflict broke out in my country. We were fleeing the conflict, crossing the border to Uganda, where we will seek refuge. And while at the border between South Sudan and Uganda, I met this old Yaba, an old man, with his family. There were a lot of people trying to cross the country too. And in that conversation, he said, and that statement stuck with me until today. He said, "My daughter, look at me. I am an old man. My father went through conflict. I am born and raised and going through conflict. You see these children here, they're going through conflict. And I'm tired of running. I ran with my father. I'm running now with my children. This body you're seeing is tired of running." And that hit me so much because apart from him, I am also running with my family members. 2 years later, I came back to the country with that statement stuck in my mind very vividly. And among us, the things that I've been watching and seeing and experiencing is another story of a girl that also stuck with me. She was beaten to death by her own brothers. The reason is she refused to get married to a man that the family members wanted for her. Now, that is just one story of so many girls and women who have gone through, who have been held hostage in a very toxic violence, especially through culture. And these stories really informed a lot. Like it dawned in me that I have to do something. Even if it starts only with me, my immediate family, my immediate friends, I have to do something about it. I have to deconstruct the generational grievances. I do not want to end up like the old man because I see myself running away again. And above all, these girls, I am a girl, surrounded by women. They should have a voice and they should have a choice. Through freedom and opportunity when it arises, we are humans. We deserve equal rights and we deserve equal opportunity.
Tea, please. Have your tea.
Sure. Thank you so much. And this is why I do the peace work that I do. Thank you, Your Holiness.
Thank you, Naba. And then we have one more, Your Holiness, Noel.
Good morning, Your Holiness. My name is Noel, and I am from Nigeria. It's October 1st in 2002, and it's my 9th birthday. My mother, being so loving and excited, and knowing so well that I love rice, had to make a big pot of rice for me to eat. And I enjoyed the fact that I had to drink from a very big bottle of Coca-Cola. It was a very beautiful experience. My siblings, everybody was so happy. My mother was also so happy. 7:45 p.m. that same day, and we had a bang on the door, and all of a sudden, 3 armed young boys who were between the ages of 15 to about 25 stormed into our house. We were surrounded, and only then we realized we were being robbed. Sadly, these people they were not concerned about any properties in the house. Instead, they took my mother to one corner of the room, and I, with my 2 younger sisters, watched my mother being raped. My mother was heavily pregnant at that time. It's been a very hurtful experience for me. Your Holiness, this experience has been 20 years, but I still find it very difficult to heal totally from the trauma and the picture of that night. I am my mother's son, and I have grown. Today, I am working with young boys in Nigeria who are victims or who are people who perpetuate these actions. It is one of the difficult things to do for me, because just looking into the eyes of these young boys, and just knowing who they are or what they must have done in the past or what their intent would be becomes really, really hard for me. But I am committed towards ensuring that more women, especially my 2 younger sisters, do not fall victims to rape and to any violent activity at all. Because I strongly believe that violence in its entirety is never okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel. Your Holiness, you've heard 6 powerful stories of compassionate peace building. And so Dennis and Mbo, they talked about the toxic cultural violence in their society in South Sudan. Sebastian and Anna spoke about almost chance or fate that they were able to reverse their sense of revenge against the violence in their societies. Helena had the opportunity of having a church community to give her the resources to keep going. And Noel and Dennis had nonviolent heroes, including Dennis's mother, and the memory of Noel's mother, despite her tragic death. Your Holiness, how in your life have you created for yourself that ability to sustain your compassion against all the difficulties you and the Tibetan people have faced?
I believe the fundamental level, we all human beings more compassionate. Right from the beginning, our life in childhood, I think very peaceful, very compassionate. Then my view is join modern education. Then you see fighting, killing, army, weapon. So to children, weapon, more attraction. I am monk. When I was young, I like weapon. So now that our way of thinking, you see, have to change. thinking, basic human value. In our life, real thing, as I already mentioned, more compassionate mind. Our life starts with mother's compassion. Father also some compassion, but sometimes not very sure. My own father used to sometimes, find some other women. So thinking, fundamental thinking, we human being, very compassionate. So now, a lot of these mistakes carried by human beings, I think due to certain, factors, we not pay much attention about deeper level. So we always look the past history. There are many bad things. These we should not try to repeat. We have to think, rebuild basic human value with basic human value. Then, of course, the world can demilitarize. No child born with weapon, no, with mother's milk. So now we have to think, build world, humanity without a weapon. What not thinking, weapon. Small problem can talk, through talk can solve. But thinking genuine, peaceful world, peaceful humanity. For that, ultimately, seed of peace is compassion. That's human nature. When we're born, human compassion, mother's affection. And when we die, as I already mentioned, surrounded with people who really show you compassion, then you feel much happier. So I really feel those military people during fighting and dying, I don't think you see their mind peace. Very difficult. So we must build happy society, demilitarized world, no weapon. That's impossible. You see, militarized world built by human being, not other forces. Now, same way, we human beings have the ability to build genuine demilitarized world. So mainly compassion. Now here, human compassion, you see, not the seed of military. Anger is the seed of weapon. The compassion is the seed of peace, happiness. So when we talk compassion, some people get the impression that is a religion. No, without a religion. At the time of we birth, no religion. Just we very much appreciate mother's compassion, affection. So I think we human beings, through education, sometimes you see we more attraction about past violence. Now it should look the other way. We should build genuine, peaceful world, demilitarized world.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Our leaders have some follow-up questions for you. I'm going to turn first to Noel.
Thank you, Your Holiness. I am really interested in knowing what processes you think it would take one who has been hurt to heal, especially using meditation that I know that you practice.
Kasa.
그러나 다치 파마 아마 충중 그랑 충중 로구유가라 아마 미기 다치 잼 제바디 통을 당 디중도 다 디기 셈라 포디어 디야 즉 쇠야디 시스칼레도 스타 디쇠야 셈이야 쇠야디 컨데스 탑시도 곰 겨울음식 곰 컨데를 짓는 게 요인나 컨데를 시오레스
거르셔스
곰도부터 내 지네 곰기 토네 양직 셈디야 쇠야 저럴 디체 제단도부터 컨데를 시오나스
Now, I'm Buddhist. As soon as I wake up, thinking, all sentient beings are same with me, want happy life, do not want suffering. So thinking, entire sentient being, entire human being, and then determined my life as a use to build happy humanity. That's my daily practice or meditation. So I'm Buddhist. Not only just a Buddhist, but Buddhist scholar. So we know how to keep peace of mind, not just a close eye, but analyze. Anger, hatred never bring inner peace. Compassion, sense of brotherhood, sisterhood brings inner peace. So we want inner peace, peaceful life. So thinking entire human being on this planet should develop genuine sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, and live together with full of or sort of what say the closeness feeling. It is possible. The past or negative thing should not repeat. Now look, world, lot of weapon, lot of war. What good result? More negative consequences. So now time think, or differently, genuine world with full of a sense of brotherhood, sisterhood, and live together happily. Never a weapon. What called? Needles are we? Cup.
Needles now.
Needle. Or when I was young, my weapon is my nail. when I fight with my elder brother, those days to kill. So that is okay. But beside that, other sort of weapon, we should not have or produce these weapons. It also saves a lot of money. I think we can really build a peaceful world without weapon, without army. We all live together happily. I'm monk, then lay people, happy marriage, happy, produce nice children. Their children also, you see, get the sort of experience from parent, complete sort of what say, peace, loving kindness.
Thank you, Your Holiness. I think Nebat has a related question, given her story of the horrible momentum of intergenerational violence. Please.
Your Holiness, sometimes I wonder, how can one heal from generational grievances that you know it has affected you because it came from somewhere else? Maybe your great-grandparents, your grandparents, your parents, and now it has shifted to you. How do you let go and create your own path?
Karsa.
당ranzu 지 파메 겁내 지 미두고 당와다 된주 치진 아니 양지 로뉴다 마서는 마 부부를 시 부부를 마셔진 디 지 셈도 용해 저럴 어디 야 마요에 내가 차야 그 간데스 저래서
I think their knowledge, the negative side, I think better forget, not thinking. Our experience, they are both very compassionate, positive, and anger, jealousy, negative. So we should think more about positive side. Ourselves and our children should not remind the negative side. Think more positive side. And let them try to build happy world, peaceful world. On the basis of the serious thinking, oneness of 7 billion human beings. When I heard this is some atrocity carried by some Chinese communist, I always feel pity, never feel angry. So they also, you see, lack of knowledge, inner peace. So peace cannot buy from market. Peace ourselves must develop here. Eventually, I think we human being more sort of thinking power. So think more about inner peace.
Thank you, Your Holiness. We have some other questions about different aspects of compassionate leadership, about the challenges in exercising compassionate democratic leadership, as you spoke about. So I'm going to turn to Sebastian.
Yeah, thank you. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. As you mentioned it, I really believe in democracy. I have been a politician myself, and I have participated in elections myself. What I think is that usually people naturally is attracted to radicalism. And I don't believe, of course, in radicalism. But how do you think we can teach compassion instead of radicalism? Because it's really hard right now for politicians because it is easy to attract people with that sense of tool, sort of tool.
Basically, as I mentioned earlier, we human beings from birth more compassionate. We survived with mother's compassion. So for life, peace of mind is key factor for survival. So thinking these lines, then you get more conviction. The violence always destructive. Non-violence ultimately compassionate mind. So we witness now on this planet a result of anger, more destruction, more suffering. Actually, against the human nature. Human nature, we are a social animal, so more compassion. So thinking these lines, then you get more conviction. Warm-heartedness is the key factor, including I'm monk, otherwise in happy marriage. Through fighting, marriage impossible. Genuine love each other. Then marriage come. Like that.
Thank you, Your Holiness. So I'll tell you a story about Sebastian. When he was maybe 25, he ran for mayor in the election in his town. He ran against 5 other candidates. The older one was about 50. He came in second, lost only, so he's half the age of the older man. He lost only by 50 votes. So he's the hope for the future. And so now Anna. The democratic future.
For election, nice word, including some lie.
Anna, please.
My question is regarding us as leaders. How do we prioritize one issue over another? I sometimes find myself being a bit overwhelmed with so much issues around me and so much need. So how can we prioritize and what can we do regarding all of the issues of the world?
가서
전개 가서 우치칭에 이메 차네 삼레 네드 망부질 가대 자고 거를
가르쳐서 세비시노 속에
네드 망부질 가대 자고 거를 네드 망부질 돌아 타주 제야 되는데 지고도 양치 개체 네드 개체 중 간데스다 더 지고 됐어. 저 드리셔라. 그런 우치지기.
Now we have this wonderful brain. We can judge which system, which people, more honest, more good. So then, after, comparison, then we voluntarily abandon more negative way. There are people who very cunning way, very clever way. Oh, there are. But these will not get a happy life. So, you see, we should keep firmly our principle, honest, compassionate mind, honest. Then gradually things change. the politician for election, you stand firm about our principle based on warm-heartedness, then eventually people vote you. Okay.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Dennis is a very devout leader, very religious leader, so he has a question for you.
Yes, Your Holiness, thank you very much for all the inspirations. I would like to check the status of forgiveness. Does forgiveness comes from God, or it is self-realization? If I forgive the perpetrators, does it mean I am afraid, coward, or I can't do anything?
Karsa, forgiveness.
Forgiveness the control gi manang ba chi chagu yorbe so so rang gi ji be zu chin yong gu yorbes yang ji mi ji gi tu ba che ba forgive che ba ina ji non ju re ma re se chi so so chi lo
Now I have one sort of story. Bishop Tutu, my great friend, and he expressed to me, he believed Creator, God. So after his death, ready go to heaven. Dalai Lama, as a Buddhist, no concept of Creator, so not believe Creator. So Dalai Lama may go some different place. Then later, I told this story. So many listener told, they want to join me, go hell. So, now Bishop Tutu no longer with us. But day-to-day life, peaceful mind, more compassionate mind, whether believer or non-believer, believe this religion, that's secondary question. Main thing is keep warm-heartedness. So that is my main practice.
Thank you, Your Holiness. So this morning we've talked about a lot of things. We've talked about belonging. We've talked about how both peace builders and every human being feels belonging because of the love from their mother, because the warmth of their family, because of the teachings of their church, because of the bonds of their community, and how one only belongs if they've had the great fortune to have those loving strengths and assets in their life. Then we talked about compassion, and again, compassion is built on that early love, that family love, that motherly love, that church love, and how, and that teacher love, and how, you know, compassion can only come through those sources of love and through deeper moral education, not just materialistic education. And so, Your Holiness, we'll see you again tomorrow, but I wanted to see if you had any final thoughts, particularly on our big themes this morning of belonging and compassion.
Karsa.
belonging di ta
Karshis.
pame dom do chi ya
Karsa. Ka. Jugdum. Indeed, I am very, very honored meeting with learned people, people with long future. So our day-to-day life, very important for future long life. So we should use this human brain and judge unbiasedly. Then naturally you will realize warm-heartedness is key factor for healthy body, a healthy mind, and a healthy friend. So, I, as a elder brother, I always thinking about warm-heartedness as soon as I wake up. So that really brings peace of mind and healthy body and good sleep, as I mentioned earlier. So, warm-heartedness is, whether considered religious matter or not, warm-heartedness is the key factor for happy life. So, that's according to my own experience, and many my friends who really practice genuine compassion. One sort of strange thing. At least number of cases, monk at the time of death, thinking about altruism, then grosser level of mind gradually dissolve. But then strong feeling of affection, compassion, the subtle level of mind, still some feeling. So that body remain very fresh. Next 1 week or 10 days, like that. So the mind, there are grosser level or sensory level of mind that at the time of dying, the time of death, these first stop. Then subtle level of mind, there are gradual level dissolve. Then most the inner level, subtle mind. We have some sort of knowledge. Firstly, our sensorial organ no longer function. Then subtle mind, step by step, becoming more subtler. Then most subtle level, you can meditate or few days, even few weeks. So that prepare next life. Okay. So that's, of course, the Hindu yogi practitioner as well as Buddhist. You see, we have this knowledge and practice. Okay. There's some monk who meditate after death. Then local doctor come, check. They already die. But body remain very fresh. So these are mysterious level sort of practice. Actually, we witness.
Thank you, Your Holiness. So we wish you a good day. We'll see you tomorrow morning again for the second half of our dialogue with you.
Okay.
And we have another half of our group that is looking forward to sharing their thoughts and stories with you. And now we're going to go in search of more rainbows. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
Thank you. Thank you, thank you.